painting, and that's with oil, acrylics, or even pastels. So today, I know for me, when I started out, it was my brain wanted to go to detail, and I wanted to paint. And Leah would tell me, "Stop going to detail. Stop, stop, stop." Constantly. So that's
I feel
what
so vindicated right now.
I do. I hear Leah's voice. I hear her. Slow down, slow down, slow down. So what I'm learning is the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. I was just telling Leah I'm reading this book that she told me about 3 years ago, but now I'm reading it. And so your left side is chattering all the time, and we got to try to quiet that down. This exercise is teaching you how to quiet that left side and really hone in the right side. Your right side is your artistic side of the brain. It determines
it's the visual spatial.
It's the visual spatial
side.
So like your left side says that's a cup, but your right side is saying, okay, the cup is high, low, far away, close. So what I'm hoping today is to teach you to just look at the tree. We're going to look at the values, the lights and the darks, and how we can just break it down into simple shapes. So I have something that I was reading the other day, and it kind of clicked for me. And I'd already kind of been doing it, but it's a artist called John Carlson, and it's Theory of Angles. And I think this would help you for any landscape painter, and probably within something else if you wanted to use it other than landscapes. But I'm going to send you a snapshot of what I'm talking about. So if you look, it's talking about the theory of angles, the planes. What does that mean? That means in our tree, we're looking at where's the light coming from. The light is coming from the right side of our tree. So it makes us think, okay, our tree is upright. It's not laying down, so the light, how do we determine the value? The idea is that each plane or mass in a landscape is determined by how much light is hitting it. So when we start out with a painting in landscape, that's our first thing we need to look at is the planes. For trees, that's why I have 4 different values of the same color family to start out with our underpainting. I have the dark to the light. So I have a dark, 2 medium values, and the lightest lights.
And notice that her underpainting is starting with reds.
Right.
I'll re-forward that over. Oh, you've got it.
It's always good to try to do complementary colors, right? And this tree, if we were just to lay it down with green, it just really wouldn't be visually intriguing. It wouldn't be vibrant. It would be, you wouldn't get that depth. And so I'm going to show you starting out with the red underpainting. And for those who are doing your sketching with your pencils, we're going to look at the simple shapes. So I'm going to show you, I actually did it before class, and I'll send it over what I mean by simple shapes on the tree. I've included where the sun is, and then areas. And these are areas that show different values. What are values? Lights to the darkest colors, okay? I have a value scale. This is a value scale. This is the darkest, right? Which is they call it a value 1 to the lightest of value 10. So that's when I'm referring to values, is your lights and your darks. So what we've been doing in the class for the new people is that I kind of explain what we're going to do for today. We're talking about values, and we're also trying to paint a tree without painting every leaf. And I'm going to show you how to do that. For those doing your pencil, you can go ahead and just do your grid. And you can start drawing your tree, or you can sit and just, like Leah said, watch me paint. I'm going to sketch in the tree first with my underpainting colors, and then I'll wait. So if people want to just watch, they can, or I will wait and you guys can go ahead and sketch in yourself, and I'm here to help you. We're not in any rush. So we'll just go at everyone's pace. And then I'll have you send in pictures after we're done sketching in our underpainting, and then we'll move to the next step. So that way everyone is staying along and no one's getting left behind. So right now I'm going to switch to my camera. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and chime in. Leah and I are here to help.
Should I remove the spotlight? Yeah, there, you got it. Okay.
Okay. Can you see okay?
Can you scoot it a little bit? Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yep.
So you're working with landscape paper?
Yes. So this is sanded paper. Yes. Thank you, Sandra. It is sanded paper. I use the UART 400 for those who are new to this medium. This is, and I'll take a picture of it for you. I like the 400 grit, but it comes in all different grit. You can get 320 up to like 600, 500, but I enjoy the 400. So today I am going to, I like the square, even though my paper is rectangle. So I'm actually going to draw in a box here. So I'm just going to sketch in kind of a square. And you don't have to, you can use.
Are you using charcoal?
This is just pastel.
It's a blue?
And it's a blue.
Okay.
I do a lot of my sketching with the blue, and I am kind of sitting at an awkward stage, so I hope that you can see. So here we have the side of the paper for those who are new to pastel. This is where we like to test out our pastels, clean them, and kind of see how a mark can be made. A mark meaning I'm using the side of my pastel. I can use the edge of it. That's a different type of mark. I can drag it down. I can move it to the side. So this is a place where you're going to want to test your colors. So first of all, I'm going to come in, and so I'm using the 4 pastels that I sent over for the underpainting. So I'm going to start sketching in. I'm going to kind of just get I'm using the side, and this is like a dark maroon. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just focusing on, and I've noticed that it's easier with a light pastel. I'm just focusing on the trunk, the branches, and the direction that these are coming. That's all I'm focusing on right now. That's what I'm putting in with my dark. So I'm looking at the angle and very simple, just simple shapes. And these are just some of the trees in the back here.
See how she's moving around to the darkest parts? So she's kind of sketching in, then she went over to the left, the right bottom area. Now she went over to the left. She's moving around. She's not just thinking about the tree. She's not really thinking this is a tree. She's thinking, where are my dark shapes within the tree?
Exactly. One tip is squint. When you're squinting at the picture, your eyes just look at the shapes. They see the lights and the darks. I see right here in the center is a lot of dark, right? Because the sun is up here, and we're having the light shine this side of the tree. So I know this is lighter. So in here, I'm going to lay in some more darks. And so I'm just again, light, very, very light touch. How do I know it's light? I can still see my pastel paper through my pastel. If we put too much down, it can fill the tooth of the paper. I'm going to go to another darker. It's still in the dark family, but a little bit lighter. And I'm just kind of coming over the dark, still very light touch, light touch. And you can hear it and you can still see through here. Just paying attention to the values. That's all I care about in the shapes. And I notice how I'm taking my pastel and I'm going this way. It's always good. Just drag your pastel in the direction that you see the vegetation or the leaves or the tree. And there's no wrong way. Okay, and then I have another medium value, and it's brighter and warmer. So now I'm looking, where's my warmer side of my tree? Again, squinting, very light touch. And I'm just pulling the pastel up just like this. I'm not worried about these pieces where the sky is. We'll come back in with that. Right now, I'm just laying down the foundation that we're going to build on. Very light touch. For those who are in pencil, this is exactly what you'd be doing too. You'd just be kind of shading, maybe rub with your finger to indicate some darker areas, and then lighter, just looking at shapes. Probably some of this down here. And now to my lightest colors. And this is going to be for the sky. I'm pulling away from the tree. I'm not pulling into the tree because I want to preserve these colors in here. Using the side, very light touch. And I'll put some down in here too. Okay. I'm going to stop here. I'll take a picture.
So those of you who are doing this in pencil or charcoal or, not color, try just creating lights and dark areas, right? Instead of the color. See if you can kind of recreate. And of course, you can't make the marks with a pencil that you can with your pastel, right? With a pastel, which is more like a chalk. So just be aware of that. This is a different mark making experience. And in fact, in future classes, if you want to continue to come in here to this class, if you want to find the black and white medium that's the most like this, get yourself some soft charcoal. So there is a supply list on the website. I'll send that as well at the end of class, where you can find out what things you need to buy for different sections. Soft charcoal will be a lot like color, but it's just black. So you'll be doing black and white.
And pastel it's fun. I mean, this is, I'm going to show you we're going to fix it by doing what we call a wet underpainting. And so I'll have everyone send in what they've done so far. And like I said, you still have time. If you just watched and now you're doing it, that's okay. But right now, if anyone has their underpainting done, go ahead and send that in and I'll look at it. Yeah, great. Very nice. I love the purple.
Mira, are you using
I was just gonna say,
oil
what is
pastels, or are you using stuff that looks like crayons or more like chalk?
I don't know. I got it from my daughter had a pastel kit, so I just used that one. So probably it's not the right kind.
Okay.
Does it have paper on it? Does it say?
Yeah, let me show you what it is. It's the,
Okay.
It's like this. Can you see it?
That looks like oil maybe.
I think they looks to me when I look at the marks like oil pastels. You'll see it's a little waxy. It doesn't feel like chalk.
Okay,
Feels
so
like crayons.
She had it.
Yeah, so just be aware those are going to behave a lot differently than the dry pastels, the pastels that are like chalk. But we've had experience with people using them quite successfully in following this class. So, but just know they're not going to do the same thing. Don't be surprised.
I just used those, whatever I had at home. I didn't realize.
Perfect. Perfect. It's great. Ah, nice, Sandra.
Yeah, very nice. For those who are not doing a wet underpainting, you can also use a blending tool. You can use like a rag, or I have pipe insulation, like a foam that I use for those who are new, and it looks like this. So.
And Hannah T, you're also using oil pastels, so just be aware they do not behave like dry pastels at all. So you can still do it for the fun of it, and you should probably go a little bit darker in your dark areas.
With oil pastels, you can't fix it like.
Not the same. It's just a different. So just be aware as these instructions are going on. There is a supply list for pastels on the Roaming Studio website. So I will send this over to you guys as well in the chat, so you can get all the information you need for the classes. But I'm not trying to, I think it's awesome. Use what you have. But then if you're like, I want to follow along with the materials here, I'll set that up right now.
Yeah, I think that if you can get the supplies that Leah suggests, just because pastels are kind of unique. So if you want to have the same results, it's good to have those things. So how's everyone doing? It looks good. Let's see, a few more minutes if people want to send in something, and then I will move to. I'm fixing this to my sanded paper using isopropyl alcohol. This is 70%. You can use a mineral spirit like Gamsol, water. It just takes a little longer to dry, but it works. Oh, very nice, Claudia. Yeah, great. Very nice. Okay. I'm just going to pour some of my rubbing alcohol, not a whole lot. You can see it's just a glass container. That's about how much.
I use the same pots of water.
Yeah.
Except vanilla.
The what?
I use the same yogurt.
The same container.
Except vanilla.
That's funny. They're great. Yeah, I think Leah's the one that had them, and then I was like, that works perfect. Okay. I'm
going to pop on really quick here just to tell you guys that in the chat thread, you can find the link to the Art at Work portal. There's a password, Art is Fun, but that will have everything. It'll have your list of the supplies you need for each class, for each medium. It'll have the schedules of the classes. It has the Zoom link. It has the WhatsApp threads for each class. So you can actually join them yourself if you would like to. So it's all in the chat. Jumping
Perfect.
off now.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. So I'm gonna switch over to my other camera. Go ahead and start with the underpainting. All right. So I'm just taking, for those who are new, I'm just dipping my brush. This is just a regular brush. And I kind of try to take a little bit of the alcohol out because I don't want too much strips, but you just dip it in here, and we're going to start with the lightest of the lights. And so I'm going to just start up here in the sky, just dipping my brush. And I'm painting, just like you would paint a painting. It essentially dissolves our pastel, our pigment, into paint, because really that's what it is. And I'm just kind of coming around the tree a little bit. We will be layering over this. I'm going to come down here in the grass. Then I'm going to come up here into the tree.
Do you see how even when she's adding the alcohol with the brush, she's still kind of painting? She's kind of creating shapes of the direction the leaves might go. Now, right now, she's working on the, excuse me, she's working on the trunk. So she's kind of going up and down. So notice her brush strokes aren't random, even in this phase. She's kind of trying to, her brush strokes are kind of trying to mimic what the direction of whatever she's painting is going. Yep, using the edge of the brush there. I'm feeling very relaxed, Marie.
I know.
It doesn't work with, yeah, Hannah, it doesn't work with, the alcohol and brush technique doesn't really work with oil pastels, but you might try, we had somebody have a little success with actual oil. So if you have some olive oil, you might try brushing it. It might wreck your paper. So what I'm telling you is not archival or anything, but you might see if you can get, she was using coconut oil, I think.
Really?
And yeah, that's what Marcel was using last week. And it seemed to work. So you can try it out. You can try it out. Or you can just layer on top without use the dry technique. That's kind of fun. And by the way, don't get us wrong. We like it when people come in with different techniques. This is kind of fun.
Oh, it is.
So don't, we still want you to do art while you're working.
Yep.
Because this is the relaxing part. Good job, everybody.
It is. I love experimenting. That's how I learn. And trees are like this are good practice because you're just looking at the shapes. That's all. Nothing more. I'm pulling. I'm pulling up because I'm trying to not get it running down into my grass too much. So it's another tip. Kind of coming back in with my trunk. Just kind of paying attention. Take your time. We're in no rush. Really just looking, what is your tree doing? This is kind of like an impressionist, right? I mean, we're just suggesting the darks and the lights.
Yeah, and look at how she is not focusing on painting every leaf, but defining the dark, where the dark and the light shapes meet. So she wants to make sure that that's available, right? Where those dark and those light shapes are meeting in the tree. And she's doing that by pushing the dark shapes darker and keeping the lighter shapes lighter. That's why you see this feeling of tree, even though no leaves have really been painted. I mean, single
Exactly.
leaves. Clumps of leaves are being painted.
Yeah. And this is just like a roadmap, essentially. You know? And so I'll take a picture of this, and then I'm just gonna let it dry right now, and it takes a little bit of time, not very long. Let's see here. Oh, I guess I have the flash on.
For those of us who didn't do the wet, is there something we could be doing right now?
Yeah, so sorry, I had mentioned about a pipe foam or some type of blending tool.
I've done that already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and send it through if you haven't already, Sandra.
Okay.
Let me look at it. Yeah, that's great, Julia. So now you can actually go in with your finger and blend in some of where the tree, the shrubs down on the bottom of your horizon, and then up into your tree. You can actually kind of draw, like, if you can see with your pencil, like this, to indicate areas within your tree, like circles almost, close together. Try that. Yeah, exactly, Claire. Good. And you can fill in your tree a little bit more, Claire, where the dark areas are by just using your finger and blending that a little bit more. Or even if you wanted to use like a paper towel or something, or even like a cloth. Okay, yeah, Sandra. So go ahead and on your tree, Sandra, let's put some more dark on the left-hand side. And
Okay.
with your pastel, go ahead and just on its side, just kind of do some dragging over like this with your pastel at an angle. Try just a couple pieces like that and see how over your branches. Yes, nice, Claudia.
I have a question. Maybe you said this already, but you can use just water, right? If you don't have alcohol, just using a brush and water, and that's okay. We'll try this time.
Yeah, try it out and see. It'll take a little bit, and sometimes if you have if you're doing water, just because it's going to dry a little longer, if you have like a hair dryer, you could
interesting. You can we'll try.
Yeah, I've used the hair dryer quite a bit actually, to speed up the drying process. This is the fun part, is that all of us get to share our tricks or mistakes that end up being awesome, like secret little gems of using in our artistic mediums. So, nice, Juliet. Yeah. So this is on the center of your tree. Let's go ahead and put a little more of the dark shading on the left, right? Because we know that our light is coming in from the right-hand side. So we're gonna have more of the light here on our tree, on our right side of the tree. Here and here. I'll switch my camera so you can see.
Marie, can you
Yeah.
explain about the colours? Like, why have you used all red when the tree is green?
Right, good question. So it is a complementary color. And what we want to do is we want to layer that warmth underneath that tree and that darkness. And so it's a warmer picture, and that that red that we are going to build that green on is just going to make it so vibrant, and just that color is going to sit on it beautifully.
All right, can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah.
Because some people might not know what complementary colors are.
Oh.
There are 3 color pairings.
Yes.
Write this down right now. We're going to go over and over this again and again. You're going to forget this, and I'm going to tell you 100 times, and so is Marie. 3 complementary color pairings: purple and yellow, green and red, blue and orange. Purple and yellow, green and red, blue and orange. When you put complementary colors next to each other, they pop forward. Right? They push forward. They become vibrant. They push each other forward. When you blend them together, they create a neutral kind of shadow version of the other. So, and even though Marie is putting a bottom layer of red, it's because she's fixed it with alcohol, it's going to dry. And so putting a green on top is going to be like having complementary colors next to each other. So you're going to see also there is red in virtually every landscape green you'll ever mix. So every green, you will notice if you try to put green, anything straight out of the tube or from a pastel onto to try and create a tree green, you won't get it. It's going to look artificial. And that is because all landscape greens have a touch of the complement mixed in with them. But you're going to hear about complements over and over again, because if you want to mix a shadow of a complementary color, so say you're painting a lemon, you're not going to use black with your shadow. You're going to mix a little purple in with your yellow to create the shadow, to create a continuous color. So great question, Claire. Probably a lot bigger answer than you expected.
Yeah, no, and thank you, because I'm just you know, those are things that you do need to know. Why am I choosing red, and why? What is it going to do? And it's amazing, like Leah said. Every green I use in my oil painting, I definitely am cleaning off my feet, because I had pastel dust all over my floor. And all of a sudden I looked down and my feet were blue. So sorry here. Anyhow, so let me see where we're at. Color wheel, Claire, is also good to have. Something like this. And it gives you complementary, tertiary, and I use it a lot. How's everyone doing? Let's see. Palm oil with my finger. Oh, that's cool, Hannah. Wow. So are you using pastel, Hannah, then?
She's using oil pastel.
She's using the oil pastel. Okay.
So she asked if she could use the alcohol, and I said maybe not, but like although now I'm kind of changing my mind as I'm doing it. Oil will do something, but you might try alcohol with the oil pastel. Just know it'll do something different. The problem with the oil is it doesn't dry. So you now have a painting that will eventually fall apart, particularly if you're just using regular paper. But just for the fun of it, try it. But you could also try, I'm changing my tune on this. You can also try alcohol with the oil pastels. Just recognize they do a different thing.
Yeah.
The nice thing about alcohol is it dries. So it'll kind of lift off your paper, whereas oil just soaks in.
Yeah.
It stays there. So your substrate has to be quite sturdy to be able to handle that.
Okay, nice, Sandra. So don't be afraid to drag your pastel over your branches.
I'm afraid of losing them.
Losing them?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I can tell, and you're not going to lose them. So one thing with pastel and landscapes, it is we're going to put it in, we're going to cover it up, then we're going to go back in and reinstate, then we're going to cover it. It's just like sky holes. I'm going to teach how to paint those in, and then we're going to cover those back up, and then we're going to put them back in. So it's a process. So don't be afraid.
So Sandra, I'm going to jump in here and say this is one of the points at which you are starting to click over to the art brain. You're thinking about every piece of this tree as what it is. It's a branch, it's there, I have to see it in every place. But in an actual fact, if you look at this piece, you can't see the branches all the way through.
You can see pieces of them, but
it's true pieces. You can see pieces, right?
But
it's
I'm
not a solid, huh?
It's true that I'm more used to cats, and then if you lose the features, it's the problem.
Well, but you need to be thinking not features, not shapes. I want you to, the trees are soft, and the hard branches, you don't see them all the way through. So losing them is part of what you need to do to get something that looks more realistic. Yeah, good. So you just jump in.
So that will be your challenge, Sandra, for you, is to just take your pastel and go right over, and then I'll show you. Don't worry. When we come back in, our brain, if you just paint just a couple leaves, are gonna say all of that tree is a tree. Okay, we don't have to paint every leaf. So same with branches and so forth. So we're going to start in on our painting. Mine has already dried. It's fixed to the sanded paper, and we're going to start layering in our colors. Okay, so first thing is to come back and reinstate the darks. So what does that mean? We're going to go back in and kind of look at where our tree is, reestablish it. We're looking at our darks over here with the trees in the background. And so I'm just, again, using my dark pastel. It's kind of a maroon. I'm just coming back in and using the side, just coming back, putting in, and this is what I'm talking about. See how we're coming back in with the branches again? And I don't want them all the same width, right? Because not every branch is the same width. So I'm varying my branch. I'm kind of moving my pastel to the side, just like a tree would. I'm just really looking at the curve, very light touch. Kind of coming up here. And maybe indicate some trees in the distance. Come put in that a little bit. Okay. Let's look at our trees back here. One thing to do, we need to push this tree forward, right? Because this is our focal point. Even though right now, if we were to look at our black and white photo, if you guys pull up your black and white photo, the values may seem very, very similar. And that's what happens when we take pictures. You know, we're trying to paint a 2D picture to make it look 3D. And what I mean by that is, if you go back to the picture, you can see that this area is, I mean, it's almost the same value, the same darkness. But we know that this tree and this foliage is sitting in front of these trees. So how do we do that? How do we push these back and this forward? We have to make this cooler. As things recede in landscape paintings, they become cooler and duller in color. So we need to find some colors to put on these trees to push these back and pull this tree forward. So that's what I'm going to show you. So I've selected, if you look in my palette, I've got some kind of cooler, duller greens. I don't know if you can see that green very well. This is kind of like a blue-green, more on the green side. And I'm just going to kind of lay that right over, looking at this lightest part of those trees, just light touch. And maybe some over here too, because we know the sun is hitting those trees over there. Now I've got kind of like a dark navy, and I'm going to come in on the bottom here, light touch. Oops. Grab it. That's probably why I get my pastel all over my floor. And I want the underpainting to show through. I think it gives it more character and makes it really vibrate in color. So I do want to keep that underpainting. I'm going to come over here. Whenever I'm using a stick of color, I like to try to use it all over on my painting if I can.
What color is that, Marie?
I'm sorry?
What color is that you're using?
It's navy. It's like a navy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm trying to get a side on my pastel to kind of get it to very light touch. Come in part of the tree here. Coming into the darker areas. Staying to the left side a little more because we know the sun's up here. Okay. This is just a darker, muted, dull green. And I'm just using the sides. Not painting leaves, just looking at the values, the lights and the darks. I'm not too worried about in here because I know I'm going to be laying color over it, but I'm going to go ahead and just put some of this in, knowing that I'm going to cover it up. I'll take a picture here just so you can see. Here we go. So I know being on Zoom, sometimes you can't see the colors. How's everyone doing? Do you have questions? Keep moving along. Okay, I'm going to back and, oh, I'm sorry, Sandra, I can't hear you. You're still muted. I can't hear her. Can you? What was that, Leah?
I think she's okay. I think she's just muted. I mean, Sandra, you're muted. So if you tried to say something, we couldn't hear it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my brother is talking to me. Leah.
Oh, and I can't hear Leah because she's muted.
Oh, sorry about this.
Sorry, she was talking to her brother, not you.
Oh,
sorry. Because
no,
after that, it's
no.
going to be too late for him if I wait till the end of class. So I'm just chatting with him quickly.
And this is a great example, you guys, multitask. Notice
Yes.
that most of you are not actually, I can see all of you, and I can see the good thing here is that I can see you, but you're mostly, and some of you I can't because you turned your video off, which is great. You don't have to look at the screen, right? You can be looking down and doing your thing, and that's ultimately where we want you to be. That reduces Zoom fatigue, is the looking down and the working on the thing, and then you're kind of looking up every once in a while. It's a better way for Zooming.
For sure. And is the light coming okay, Leah? Can you see it okay?
It looks pretty good. It's a little, it's good enough.
Do you need
particularly if you take the, oops, sorry. Yeah, I think it's good. Oh, that's nice, actually.
Is that better?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, your shadow is falling across it a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah. So maybe it's better turned.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Great. Nice.
So just so you know, it's morning time here, and as we've learned, this is a process of our daylight. And so as the light changes the room, I'm adjusting my light too. So it seems about at the 10 o'clock mark, I need to add more light. As it's getting lighter outside, it starts getting darker. So, okay, now I'm going to get in some of the sky here. It's blues and greens is kind of what in the picture, it's really just faded out. We know it's a sunny day. And so for me, you can make it all blue if you'd like. You could do a darker blue if you'd like for the sky. It's really up to you. I'm kind of gonna choose to do some darker blue at the top and then work down to the lighter, because we know as we get down to the horizon, it gets lighter in values. So I'm gonna just lay on some blue. Being mindful, very light touch, but I am looking at what we call the negative shape. What is a negative shape? It's this piece I'm drawing here. If you can see, this is the negative shape. That's what I'm looking at on my picture.
Julia, to me, this looks all the same. So
yes.
There's a couple of things. Number one, if you look, you have a space where you see your trunk here, but here the trunk is totally lined up with the edge of the branches. So you have a space. This is a very left brain thing to do. You're distinguishing the tree from the bushes behind it. But in this particular picture, this whole area, you have spaces, but really the bushes come right up on the background are the size of the tree. So if you look, you'll see there's no white space in between the trunk and the tops of the bushes. The white space comes really only around the outside edge of the tree. And the second thing is, we're not really seeing your lights come out. So I want you to work on using your eraser to push some areas, sort of clumps of tree, light and dark, the way Marie's reds are looking. So that's my advice.
Thank you.
Yes.
Working.
And would you suggest maybe like using an eraser to?
Yeah, it depends on what she's using. If she's using a pencil, yep, you'd use an eraser or maybe your finger. If you're using charcoal, you can, scrub out, make sort of the charcoal lighter or darker.
Okay.
So yeah. So notice, you guys, when you start to, one of the things I want to say as I'm looking at these is I can see that the drawing problem that's happening is that you're actually drawing your tree as separate from those base background bushes. So you're creating a white space around your tree. But if you look, the tree trunk, right, thinking the tree is separate, it's got to have a white space around it. But if you look at what's actually happening there, the trunk is sitting against these dark branches in the background. There's no white space around the trunk. It is surrounded by dark, slightly lighter colors, right? There's no white space around that trunk. It's all dark down there where the trunk is. And then, so, but what the left brain thing that you're doing is you're trying to separate the, your left brain is telling you the trunk and the tree is separate from these background branches. So I have to put a space between them. But when you're looking at this, yeah, that's the shape, right?
There's the shape.
Yep. So that's a drawing problem. And if you're having that problem, I highly recommend you come to beginning drawing. We spend a lot of time talking about that.
Yep. That's exactly right, Leah. That is by far the first thing we have to do is look at the shapes. You know, we're looking at this is the tree, right? In our mind, it's very normal to make a tree do this, right? We just want to have a Christmas tree. That's what our brain wants us to do. But it's not, or our brain wants us to add in that white area on either side and go up and essentially draw it like this, but it's not. We have to quiet that left side of the brain is what we have to do, and just look at the shapes in relation to the other shapes. You have to get a starting point. The starting point for me a lot of times is, where's my land? Where does my land hit? I need to find my horizon. Okay, it's here. All right, there's a shape. This is like a triangle. Okay.
Yes.
Now
and it's a light triangle.
And
it's
it is
a light triangle, right?
And so we're looking just at shapes. And so right now I am doing the sky, and I'm looking at what we call the negative space. And I'm carving around this tree with my sky. Right. That's all I'm doing is looking at this shape. I don't care about my tree. I'm looking at what this shape is.
Right. So the only place where there should be light on any of your drawings is around that top edge of the tree where the sky is, and at the bottom where the grass is. That is the only place you should have white space. Everything else should be covered in some value of darkness. And that is the jump from left to right brain, the jump from verbal conceptual, which is your idea of a thing, versus visual spatial, which is, I don't care what this thing or that thing is, I need to see how they are in relation to each other. Again, if you're doing that, you need to come to beginning drawing. If that's happening for you and that doesn't make sense, come to beginning drawing. We will work that out. We'll start to work that out. Yeah,
I agree.
It's also a long lesson. It takes a long time to kind of, cement in.
It does. And so I know we're all at different skill levels, but I don't want to forget about the ones that are maybe farther ahead. So we're going to make sure that we take care of everyone. So I highly suggest, yes, if you are starting out, start taking those beginning drawing classes. So negative shape. I just talked about the sky. That's all I'm looking at is that shape of that sky. And that's what I'm putting in my sky color. Sky holes. I talk a little bit about this. It's a process. And right now, again, I'm squinting my eyes. I squint my eyes a lot when I'm painting landscapes because, again, I don't want the detail right now. The detail will come at the very end. I'm just looking at my shapes. I see some sky hole here, and I see some kind of like right along that branch, kind of in the center. I'm using a darker value, one, because we know that light coming through trees is being filtered. it's diffused. If I were to put a real bright white pastel color, it would pop out and look weird. It would look like what I've said before, like a Christmas tree light. I mean, we don't want that. So we want to have our sky holes a darker value. And usually it's either the dark value here or even a value darker. And we're just indicating some marks. And we'll come back in over this, okay? Again, process. Just starting to carve out our tree, paying attention to the lights. A lot of times these, I'm using just the side of my pastel here. This is like a what I would consider a semi-hard pastel. It's not completely soft, so I can kind of push a little bit harder, but not too hard. And so I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. Notice I have not used my finger at all with blending. One of the things with pastel is it has these really pretty sparkly, that's really what makes it vibrate. That light shining off the pastel, it has these crystals in it. So if we sit there and scrub it, it dulls that color. So I really try to avoid blending too much. I will blend with other pastels, maybe a little bit here, like tapping. But again, I'm not covering completely the whole underpainting. I like to have that pink shine through. I'm going to grab a lighter blue, and I'm just going to work it very light into my blue. And again, paying attention to the negative shape. I have a little bit down in here. Very light. Okay.
And by the way, guys, as I'm watching you work, I want to make one thing really clear. You're all doing awesome. So
Yeah.
if I tell you you've done something wrong, that does not mean you're not valiantly going forward. I tend to be a problem solver. So does Marie, because we've got such a short time period. So you kind of go straight to the thing that's not working. But there are aspects of all of these that are good, real good. So yeah. Just be encouraged.
I think what Leah said earlier at the beginning of class is really important. Maybe even just watching a little bit while how I'm holding the pastel, how I'm painting the sky, how I'm using the side, because with practice and have watched other pastelists, there's a lot of good things to do in watching how someone does it and then going back and doing it. It solidifies, for one, the process. So, all right. I'm going to take a picture of this and go ahead and please send in your pictures so I can see where everyone's at. Nope. I want to get the... Yes, nice, Claudia. So do you have a darker blue by chance?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay. Bring in a little bit more of that darker blue with the sky holes in your tree. That way it doesn't come out too much.
You mean go over the the sky holes with the darker blue.
Yeah. Do you see how in my picture I've got some of the darker blue instead of the lighter blue?
What she means, Claudia, is not over the whole thing, but reduce.
Oh.
You add the sky hole in, and then you reduce the size of it.
Yeah.
With light edges using the darks.
Thank you.
Because a little bit of light sky hole can be, you start out, it's too much. So then you want to kind of bring it in a little bit, make it smaller.
And honestly, sky holes could probably be a whole class in itself because it really is. And I know that this is a lot of information. So
one day we're going to do a class called Sky Holes.
I think we should.
Actually, I think that would be totally rad. Once we've got you guys kind of a little further along, we will just practice those.
Yes.
Because I like to say less is more. Lisa B just sent something in.
Oh.
So
okay.
I think she could go a little darker in her darks, would you say?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And Sandra, what I'm seeing here, and Marie, tell me if I'm wrong, is that you're too evenly dark all over. So I would say the light side of the tree, that right side, needs a little bit more light. Do you see how it looks exactly the same right now?
I can, yes, I can.
Yeah, so push.
So should I make the light lighter or the dark darker?
Make the darks lighter. On the light side.
On the, yep. And remember, don't worry about those branches. You can,
okay.
I know this is hard. It really is hard. But this is your time to practice and make what you probably are worried that it's going to be, it's not going to look right, but I promise you it will. Practice bringing
Fantastic.
Your pastel.
Trust us.
Okay.
But I get it because see, your mind is trying to jump ahead and anticipate what's going on. And the problem is, so with sky holes and with branches, less is more. You need very few, and they need to be very small, and they need to be not evenly drawn out, because that's not how we see them. In some places, the trees are blocking the branches. In some places, even though you have a sky hole, little leaves. Yeah, Claire, it's awesome. I'm telling you, there's so much, but it's also good to practice this because some people might find it more fun in a different medium. Some people like to use color. Just get that your brain is arguing with you about what happens. So we're constantly having to translate how we put things down on the flat paper. And it's a logic system that is completely different from the verbal conceptual logic system of the left brain. The left brain is about learning what to call things. So you have images in your mind so that associated with a word, right? Like tree. You have images in your mind so that you don't have to look at a tree to know what it is and to have a picture in your mind that comes up when you say tree. But when you're drawing, each tree has a different relationship to what's happening around it. So it doesn't really help you to think this is a tree in the visual spatial right brain landscape. It helps more to say, oh, this is a light shape, this is a dark shape, this is a mid-tone, right? Like it's better to think what's happening with these shapes than it is to think of what the thing is. Because once you think tree, your left brain is going to try and jump in the driver's seat. It's used to being in control and tell you what you're observing. Claire, the point is, last time you did art, I don't know if you guys can see this. Last time I did art was over 40 years ago in school. It's because your teacher didn't teach it right. Like your teacher failed. Yeah. It's a mental shift that has to happen. And that's the beauty of it. To me, that's what got me totally excited. I didn't know how to draw. I could not draw. And not only did I not know how to draw, the first 2 classes I took in drawing, my teacher couldn't explain to me what I was doing wrong. Could not explain that to me, because a lot of people who do art their whole lives aren't very good at describing the process. They just do it without really thinking about it. So
it's hard.
The advantage of working with Marie and I is that we both there were many years where we did not do art. And so as adults, we had to understand the theory as well as the practice. So we're able to explain this to you. But anyway, it's a whole language that you're starting to learn, the visual spatial language. And let me tell you, there's no end to it.
Yeah. And it's true, Leah, like, and give yourself some grace, Claire, because it is overwhelming.
She's laughing. I see her laughing over there.
It is.
Give yourself grace.
Well, your left side of your brain is like a bossy sibling. It like just wants to overrun your right side of your brain the entire time. And that what we're trying to do in our class is quiet that. And the way that we do is we take our pictures and flip it upside down. The left brain is just like says, I do not know what this is. And then the right brain takes over and looks at the shapes and the negative spaces. So that's really what we're trying to do, is teach you ways to quiet that side.
And how to see the shapes.
That's right.
Which gets in the way, which is less about what a thing is and what is attached to something else, and more about like just what I see on the flat space. I am going to attach to this WhatsApp thread my drawing tip sheet, which I gave Marie 3 years ago, and she's just looking at now. It has a list of books that you can get on how to learn more about drawing and to try and incorporate a drawing practice into your practice every day. And I'm also going to attach the schedule of all the classes so that you can see them as well. So you guys go back to what you're doing.
That's better, Sandra. Now with your lighter color on the side, Sandra, try, and this, I know this is going to be hard, but drag some of that orange a little bit over your blue, just a little bit.
Over the blue,
the sky hole.
Over the sky hole, you mean?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Just,
thank you.
Just very light. Just try it. Julia, okay. So yes, we are still looking at values, lights and darks. So remember, our right side needs to be a little bit lighter because we're thinking the sun, right? So maybe try lightening up some areas by squinting at that picture of the tree. Really look at your lights. Where is it lighter? And you can use your eraser a little bit if you need to, or smudge with your finger a little bit more with your pencil. But yeah, that looks good. Good job. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras and then we're going to go into the tree. Got tree and grass. We'll try to move along a little quicker. All right. I've got some ranges of greens and I'm going to take a picture for you so you can see on my palette again. So again, going back in with the darkest darks. So I'm going to be cooler because it's on the shaded, and I'm using very light dark green. And I'm looking at the darker valued area that we did earlier with that navy blue. And I'm just coming back in with my dark green. It's like a blue green almost.
Your colors are so much better than mine.
Yeah.
Probably getting, you're probably getting some mud. You're probably getting mud. So Lisa, if you feel like you have too much pastel on the paper, actually take a toothbrush, not one that's been used, but a new toothbrush, and brush off, scrub off a little bit of the darkest areas, and then you can start to layer lights in over. You're probably getting mud from having too much pastel on top of each other.
I don't have a big variety of dark colors. Mine are all really pretty bright, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know, pastel sucks you in because you need more.
So expensive.
More colors, it seems.
more colors.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to the sinkhole that is pastels.
It
you
is.
Can continue to, Marie will send you a picture at the end of class of what her pastel collection looks like, and that's a small one.
Yeah.
Just keep buying more.
I don't have the resources to match that right now.
I think, oh yeah, look at that. That's just, yeah, it's a lot of colors.
I thankfully have a wonderful family that has been very supportive, because I understand that about the investment that you have to make. And pastels is not super cheap, but I will say that there are some decent pastel brands, and I can help you with that, that you don't have to break the bank, and they're good workhorse pastels. They'll get you what you need for less money than like a Terry Ludwig or a Unison, which are beautiful but are so expensive. So we don't want you to break the bank either.
And Sandra has her line into the beautiful pastels, the French pastels. I forget the name.
Oh, the Durall.
The Durals, yeah. Which she says are cheaper if you buy from France instead of trying to buy them in the US.
So I looked, Sandra, and I couldn't get, I mean, they were like $13 a stick here.
Yeah, they're expensive here.
Oh, really? I think I saw them for about $5 a stick, like just to try one.
Can you send that over, that link over?
Well, so I saw them, for instance, they change price all the time, but like I think Dakota, the problem with Dakota is they have like a $9 shipping fee. So you have to order the stuff as well.
Jeez.
Marie, can you take a look at Natalia's? I think she's, I like the colors, but I think she's struggling with value.
Yeah, so I see that and this is what we want to do. We're just seeing all that light right there, Natalia, right? And so what we want to do is we want to build, so our lightest of our lights are going to go on at the last bit. So what does that mean? On your left-hand side, let's add some more dark, cooler, darker colors. And then we're going to pop that lighter lights at the very end. But you've got the shape of the tree. And I would bring your tree trunk down a little bit more, because see where it lands in the picture. Because we don't want it floating. So you see how the tree line in the back is here, and then the tree comes down here. So drop your tree down and let's ground it. And I am gonna put in some grass here. That way our tree isn't floating. Looks good. I like the colors. Matter of fact, why don't I do that? Get some of that grass in here. This is kind of like a
Linda,
muted
your light darks are really good. Your sky could be a little bit lighter. Can you see that? So either find a lighter blue or maybe blend in a white over the blue to lighten your sky.
Yeah.
So same as Natalia, similar. Nice. Good job, ladies.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm. By the way, as usual, I'll say, and Nina, I know your request in this regard. From time to time, I grab pieces off of these threads and put them on my Facebook and Instagram. And sometimes every 2 weeks, the Thomson Reuters webpage has a rotating gallery. So if you do not want me to take your piece, you just send me a private message telling me. Otherwise, your piece might be grabbed and and shown and showcased.
Yeah.
So just let me know privately if that's not something you want.
Marie, can you switch your camera, please?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah.
There we go.
I was just going to throw in some grass here.
Notice that her pastel is lighter, but still kind of on the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you're going to lights on top.
Yeah. Kind of need to. Okay. This is even a lighter yellow green.
We're going to take this class about 5 or 10 minutes longer, just because we spent a little bit of time with introductions.
Sure.
So we've got about, believe it or not, we've got about 20 minutes left for the schedule class. Crazy how time goes. But we'll take a little bit. Marie will finish this up, and then she'll just start looking at what you guys are working on. Nice, Marie. And when I say finish this up, she probably isn't going to feel satisfied, and we'll probably spend more time later after class, like continuing to work on it. So
yeah,
there's a lot going on here, but nice. So you see how she's adding the greens in now over the reds, but letting some of the red come through. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. So she's not thoroughly covering everything. And you'll see, it's a little hard to see in the Zoom screen because things tend to get darker and flatter, but when she takes a picture of it, you're going to see what we mean by this vibrancy of complementary colors, letting some of this, and you can see from her testing. Yeah, I mean, it's just impossible with the Zoom screen to see really great color. It's the one problem with Zoom and painting. So you'll see in the picture how now the greens are everywhere, but the reds are kind of coming through on top. And also that those base reds that she has laid in, they're blending a little bit with the greens. So they're creating a more landscapey color. If we were doing this in paint, which we did this week, for those of you who did not make the painting session, we actually mixed that color, a little bit of green with a little bit of red. Hello, Claire. Anybody else is welcome to join. Like, you don't have to, everybody in the household is welcome. So if you want that to be, we like to encourage families to do art together. Great work. Nice. Nice, Marie. As you can see, now we have more continuity, right? There's a green over the top, but the base is really influencing, is still making an appearance. And look at what she's doing with the sky holes. She's now kind of working, she's brushing in lightly some of the leaf color into the sky holes so that they don't look so blocky. So this is a soft edge, guys. This is a soft edge she's creating with her sky holes, where the light kind of comes into the dark. I think it's a little easier than what we did with clouds. I think it's the marks can be a little bit, yep. Now she's coming back in and popping them out a little bit. See how lightly though? See how lightly? Look at that. Just teeny little, not so much, just little bits. Less is more.
It does take practice.
To get the balance
and
right.
It's just, and it's just tapping. I'm just tapping it to get it out of focus because we don't want it coming out at us. And that's, it's just adding in a little bit here and there. I'm just flicking it almost. I almost need a just a little bit darker, I feel like. Just a little on this shaded side. Even though in our picture it's saying it's almost looks white, but we know it's not. And come back in with my lighter color. This very light touch. Another fun medium I've used, or I guess it's called spray fixative, and I've tried this over trees, is kind of fun to use too. And if you spray it dry, it will darken this a little bit, but you can drag pastels over it and it kind of gives you an illusion of texture. And I found that I do like using it a little bit more when I'm doing trees. But for today, I'm not, because I wasn't sure if that's something people have access to. But I can show you what I use. I'm just using very light side. And notice I'm not painting leaves. I'm just indicating where the clumps. And at the end, we can add a little bit more detail. One of the nice things about pastels is it is pretty forgiving. You can just come right back over and then add more over it. Thinking about the edges of where the light and the darks.
While Marie is working here, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how these classes work. That looks beautiful. I love that turquoisey green you're popping in there on the top. Lovely. The way these classes work, the core curriculum goes through all mediums throughout the year. So core curriculum classes are on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays in different time zones. Right now, we're in the painting section. So we're using acrylic paint. However, if you're an oil painter, you can totally use oil. If you're a beginner, I recommend sticking with acrylic. In about mid-February, I'm going to shift my demos over to oil, although you can stay with acrylic if you want. So it'll be oil. They're kind of oil or acrylic until March, and then in April, the end of March, and then in April and May, we work on watercolor in the core curriculum classes. Pastel, landscapes, and beginning drawing will stay the same all year. And from the end of May, so June until December, we're going to work on drawing techniques. So you'll see there is in the core curriculum. So you'll see there is a supply list that asks for charcoal, ink, and pencils. A great thing to get because we're going to be using all those things. We're going to start with figure drawing from June to the end of July. Don't panic. You can actually be a beginner and start in this class. Faces is August. Perspective problems is in September. October is ink to sort of go along with Inktober. So we'll be doing ink drawings. And then November is pastels. So we'll be moving to pastels, all kinds of different subjects. And then in December, each class gets to choose what they want to do. So we just kind of decide that on the fly. So if you stick with the core curriculum classes on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, those will all follow that schedule. So throughout the year, you'll do everything. If you're wanting to focus on beginning drawing, that will be happening all year. If you're wanting to focus on pastels, that will be happening all year. And really, because we want to have some things that are consistent, I'm actually hoping to add a watercolor class too. So hopefully we'll have a watercolor class going all year when I can figure out when to schedule it. So that's how these classes work. So ultimately, you're going to learn to do everything if you want to. If you want to just stick with one thing, that's also totally okay. Nice. It's like really nice to watch, isn't it? It's fun to do, but it's also really nice to watch. Marie had her own journey with pastels. I'm laughing because I love it that she's now teaching pastels, but really it was a struggle at the beginning. It was hard for her. Hold on.
It is hard. It's not simple, but you can do it. Let me see. Oh, okay. The chalk pastels, so those are a little bit different, yeah. Because that's more chalk than a pastel, which I know they say chalk pastel, but oh, that looks nice, Juliet. Very good. You really are paying attention to the value differences. Now you can go here onto the right side and start adding even more lighter hints of the leaf on the right side. Who sent in the chalk pastel one picture? Just so I know.
They're still there. Yeah, they were just texting me to ask you they leave the cash, so they're going to be out in a minute. They're 2 big dogs, so they'll be $50. Babies. Like pit bulls. So pit bulls are not actually so bad if they're short. They're 10 inches. Is that true, or are you just saying that as a statement with a question on it? I think that's true. I don't know. Maybe you should, because my son has a pit bull. Harley. And so they do shed. Right. And sometimes it's harder to get because it's straight. Because it's straight. Oh,
okay.
That's right. All right. Well, anyway, they've left a cleaning deposit for you. And they seem really nice. And they've only been here 2 days, so hopefully not that. Yeah. And they were getting ready to leave as I was. Yeah. Yeah. They just texted me and said, "Where do we leave the cleaning deposit?" So I was like, they're carrying stuff out. So I just wasn't sure which part.
Marie, I just sent you a picture. It looks very haphazard to me.
It's just so, and you know.
Oh, I didn't. Did you just send it?
Oh, sorry. I always forget to press the last button.
No, that's okay. Okay, nice, Lisa.
I'm not. I'm monitoring it. that neat?
That looks good.
How's it going in here?
We're just looking at, and Claudia. Okay, Claudia, good.
Great.
So go ahead and start adding a little bit more on the right-hand side, lighter colors, but you're seeing the value changes, right?
Yeah, you're talking to me, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the right hand when I'm looking at it, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So go ahead and you can drag a little bit more of that lighter color. Just kind of scrape your pastel just lightly over the center a little bit, and that will push your left side of your tree back.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay, Sandra, there you go. Good. You covered your branches. Hey. Good job. Okay, so at the base of your tree, right, we want to now look at where those shadows are hitting on your grass.
Oh, great. It's a shadow.
Don't forget your shadows. And you can bring those back trees up a little bit into, if you want, or you can leave it.
Bring them how, you mean? Bring them lower.
Yeah, you can bring them up higher, or you can leave them shorter. It's fine. It looks good. Good job. I'll take another picture here.
And the tree's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're getting it. You just just do loose painting. I know this is tough, just loose painting, and then you can see how I came back in with a harder pastel and added my tree branches. So see, how many times I've come in here? Probably 3 times, to indicate where those branches are.
Right.
So you don't want to feel like you're afraid that you're gonna lose, because you can come right back in with them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Good job. And let's see. And it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, this is the other part of it. Get to kind of I'm always squinting. I can tell the tooth of my paper is filling up. Kind of floating. So this is what I'm talking about at towards the end of our tree when we're just adding indications of leaves. So if we were to like zoom in standing at this tree, I know that these leaves probably are going to be kind of like it's a almost like a triangle shape. I can draw it in a darker color here, like this, and then the leaf. So you can see that. And so the tendency is to want to try to draw that all over. But if we just draw a couple of those with our pastels, very simply, if you just come in and kind of add an edge and kind of push down hard and then sweep out slowly, like that, it leaves the mark like leaves, and then everything around it just kind of blends in. And your eye knows that's what it is. And so we're just kind of adding in marks with our pastel. Pressing harder. And it doesn't have to be everywhere, just certain parts. And I feel like we need to have, always thinking about how we want, you know, this is our focal point, and we want the viewer to move through our painting, meaning, you know, coming up this tree, maybe indicating some brighter color here. Kind of follow a little bit along this branch. It kind of directs our eye. Very lightly. Ooh, kind of bright. It's almost even hitting this branch over in here.
This is awesome. Every time I come back, sorry, I've been dealing with a little bit of business this morning, so I wasn't watching the whole thing. Every time I come back, this painting is much further along. I'm watching Marie. You can probably go for another hour. Where are we at? Oh yeah, so it's 11, it's on the hour right now, depending on where you are.
Yeah. So I was just talking about like directing our eye and you know, trying to paint to indicate leaves, but not painting a leaf. And so, you know, starting here at the painting, you know, where we want our eye to visually come up the tree and work over here. And so.
Juliet, nice. I like how that's coming. I like how you're utilizing your oil pastels. That's neat. Yeah, Nina, your chalk pastels just aren't very bright. So you're probably noticing that they're more chalky. Chalk pastel, I mean, it's chalk pastels that you want to use, but there are, what pastel is pigment, like paint pigment. And so these are kind of like for kids. Oh, Lisa B, you pulled that out. Ha, very nice. Lisa B, if you have a couple, I know you're limited in your colors.
Yeah.
So if you have a cooler green, you can lay a little bit on the light side. That will help. You know, sort of a bluey green, a little bit more bluey green and a less of a orangey green that you can sprinkle in there. I think you'll like that.
Okay, let me do, I'll do green and then a blue on
Yeah,
top.
and so I'm going through to see what I missed. Okay, so Claudia, you're getting a little muddy here with your pastels. So your light side is looking too much like your dark side. So you want to make, if you have too much, you want, see how Marie is applying her lights almost like a tapping method. So it's not blending in with the bottom colors. You can try that, or you can scrub out some of your, or spray fix your piece and wait till it dries and then add some light colors on top. Because right now I can see you've got a little bit of mud.
Yeah, I tried.
Chalk pastels are, I mean, Nina, we're showing you chalk pastels, but I think unfortunately your colors just aren't dark enough. So I would recommend a different, these are children's colors and you need to work with something that's more professional artist grade. So you'll see, Maria will send some recommendations across the thread on things that she likes, but also there's a pastel supply list with some examples of some things you could buy. Natalia, you also, I love your mark making. I still feel, can you look at Natalia's piece, Marie, for a second?
Yeah.
And there's something, Sandra, this is getting better. The dots are too much regular. And
they look weird.
Right? So yes, they look weird because what you've done is create a little little pattern there. And that's it looks too patterny and not regular enough. So these light brights that Marie is adding, you don't need that many. And the marks shouldn't all look the same. And they shouldn't all be going in the same direction. However, Sandra, I got to say, I love your, I love the dark side of your tree. I love how the branches are looking. I really love, Sandra, at the top, this kind of light area. So just blend in some of those.
Yeah, I've just blended them with a finger.
But wonderful. I think the sky is gorgeous and how it's hitting the tree, really beautiful. Anya, not bad. You're getting a little too, I'm sorry, Marie, I'm jumping in. You
No, you're fine.
Ooh, Nina. So what do you think about Nina's work? She's using these chalk pastels.
Is that what it is? Okay, I was wondering what, I didn't know what it was.
They're more chalky. They're more like sidewalk chalk, which has got more white in it. So everything's a bit lighter.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you recommend for Nina?
Well, I mean, you definitely need more darks. So on your left-hand side, if you can, I don't know if you need to, can you spray fix that chalk? Will it work the same as that? I'm not sure. I've not used these.
I'm sure she can spray fix it.
You can spray fix it like with hairspray if you don't have fixative. I have Blair. It's like a no odor spray. That's what I've used.
But you can also use hairspray.
But you use hairspray is just fine. Spray it. It's going to darken a little bit, which is what you want, and then you can go over it with some darker value, especially on the left side of the tree. Anya, okay, so now what you want to do is you've got your lights and your darks. You want to pull those lights a little bit over into your dark side, and don't worry about covering over your branches. Okay.
So you should cover over your branches is what she means.
Yes.
You should cover over your branches.
Yep.
So don't let your branches be just straight sticks.
Yep. Exactly.
Nice work. But Nina, I want to tell you, I like the mark making. It's a very soft, pretty mark making that you've done.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
And I like that you have the light and the dark side. You just need pastels with more pigment in them. Oh yeah, there you go, Sandra. Now you're getting there.
Yep, way better.
Nice. Even less. Sandra, you could have like 6. You could have 6 marks
And maybe take some of that that yellow, like Leah's, like that
yellow that's on the top there.
On the top. Put it more in
through.
Yeah.
On the light side.
Go over your
in bigger marks, not with the dark. Ooh.
Did another one come through?
No, sorry, something came through on the painting.
Okay. Linda, that looks really good. I love your blending of your tree. It's really pretty.
You could I feel like the branches on the right, on the left, in the dark side, the spaces between are a little too regular.
They are.
So the shapes. So I would take a dark pastel and kind of scrub across some of them. So you guys are going to learn that these sky holes and these shapes, less is more. We want to like add in like, and we also want to create patterns where none exist. So that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. Juliet, nice. Considering you're using crayon pastels. Juliet, what worked for you in layering your oil pastels? Juliet Hindle. Well, if you're not there. Anyway, I like how that's working.
Sorry. Just keep going is what worked.
Okay, so you need to be a little bit more specific. When you were layering colors, did you use any fixative on there? Did you what did you
No.
Okay.
No, I did some blending with my finger, and then
blending with your finger. Okay, great.
I varied. So I did lots of layers, but then I also worked with the direction of the strokes. That helped a lot.
And I would say the problem that you're having using this medium is that you can't get light enough.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. So just know that maybe on the next time you worked with this medium, if you're working in this class, that you would stay a little lighter with the oil pastels, because you don't have that control of fixing your blend. There's too much blending going on. Can you help Natalia? I think she's so close, Marie.
No, yeah, that's sorry. I all of a sudden got disconnected. So what I was saying is, so see how your intervals, meaning your spacing between your branches, look the same. So starting at like on a clock, you see how they're all spaced. We don't want them, like Leah said, like soldiers. So bring some of and make that uneven, change it. And the way you do that is you'll take your pastel and you'll just drag it over some of that left side, that darker color.
Yeah. Also, you've got a little too much branch showing. So I also feel like, Natalia, if you have any yellowy light greens, if you could pop them in places.
I don't actually. I'm struggling with greens.
You're struggling. Can you show me what you have?
Let's see.
Let's see what you got.
I will take a picture.
Yeah, take a picture. I get your point.
I love your sky, Natalia.
Her mark making is just beautiful.
Well,
Juliet,
it's so
nice.
moody.
Julia Hatfield, very good.
Yes, that's way better.
Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself, Julia?
Yes.
Like this. Santa, that looks much better. That looks
better.
Great. Wonderful.
So your sky hole, Sandra, go over it a little bit with that yellow green pastel if you can, just so it's not so even.
Okay. All right, so we're at 11:10. I want you guys to either stop or listen for a moment. We're gonna end this lesson now, but before we do, I want everybody to say something that went well for them. So we'll start with Lisa B. Can you pop on, Lisa B, and can you just look at the camera for a minute and say what you think you did well in this lesson, and then what you think you could work on?
I need more colors, first of all. I think I did okay blending, and I'm getting a little bit better with value.
I agree.
I'm still working on that.
You're blending, and I agree totally. It's very sophisticated. And what I hope is that working with pastels, you're going to see some things that will help you with your painting too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see your painting and your pastels starting to dovetail in a very nice way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super.
Beautiful.
Natalia, how about you? What do you think you did well today? And I want to tell you, your mark making is stunning. So I love the way you lay your marks. It's very distinctly you. You would totally know. So very nice work there.
Well, I dialed in. I did that well. So that's something. No, yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle for me today, but as usual, I'm learning, so that's good. And I will fight with my greens. I will
fight with your greens. I see a problem with your greens right there. They're too like, Linda. Linda, what do you think? What do you think you did well today? You did a lot well today, by the way, from what I observed.
Thank you. I think that consider that I also have like a really limited palette of colors. Yeah. That I'm using like a new paper. I
do you like it?
Works better. Yeah, it's this don't remember anymore. Okay, but anyway, yeah, it works a bit better. I feel like though the pastels like are getting too muddy.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to work on that.
Yeah.
But what did you do well? What did you do well?
Yeah, I think I'll consider that the fact that I didn't have the, much variety of supplies, the mixing of colors and the light and the shades. I'm quite happy with it. And the fact that it actually kind of looks like a tree.
Well, I think that's key. Think about what Linda said. I actually wound up with something that looks like a tree. I remember vividly taking my first art class and drawing and absolutely sucking at it. And so when I went, I cried every day. And then when I went to my next art class, which was a figure drawing class, I told the teacher, I will be the worst in the class. I was trying to prepare him for the fact that I really sucked. And then one day we were using charcoal and sketching in a woman on a stool. And he came over and I was using charcoal and figuring it in, and I stepped back and he stepped back and he looked at it. And I was like, just waiting for him to cut me to shreds. And I said, what do you think? And he like, looks like a woman on a stool. And that was it for me. I didn't need to hear anything else after that. It's a big achievement. Claudia, I see you pushing really hard. You are really evolving right now. So don't be unhappy if things aren't exactly turning out the way you want them to. I really see you pushing yourself. So you tell me, what do you think you did well? And what do you think you could work on a little bit?
Well, honestly, compared to what we did on Friday, the acrylic tree, which was a total disaster with the sky hole. I'm actually tree a lot better. I know it's,
I can see it.
I think the color, I tried to make it lighter on the side.
Yes. Good job.
Yep. I think that's why I say I can see you. What you guys think is like not, doesn't look as good as everybody else's or doesn't look as good as the teachers is we can see your evolution as you're starting to struggle with this. Sandra, I think this tree is fucking phenomenal. I am seeing massive pushes for you. So I want to hear what you define as the thing you did the best in this class and the thing you might work on.
Well, I guess I was able to follow the instructions a bit more and just trust the process a bit more. Because it seems very haphazard to me. And it's only when I look at it in a photo where I think, okay, yes, it looks like a tree and it's not bad. But
it's haphazard. So you're very analytical. You're used to thinking about things into the eyes here. Yep. The ear is here, the fur is here, right? Like each thing has its own distinct. This, if you can get past and that feeling of that feels haphazard, like I sometimes have like the branch and sometimes you don't see it, that haphazardness. is actually the real structure. So what you're shifting in your brain is out of that solid, there's a branch, I've got to draw it all the way through. There's a trunk, I've got to make it this certain way, right? You are shifting. I think that's the shift we're seeing with you. What
Huge
feels
shift today.
haphazard, but thank you for defining it as haphazard, because it doesn't feel logical, but it is.
I'm sort of learning the loose way, which is not my instinctive way, I guess.
You did good, Sandra. Like seriously, that I know that was beautiful. That was hard for you to cutting over those tree branches.
It's amazing, but it's amazing, right? Because you want them to be there, because you know they're there in your brain. So even if you can't see them, you want to put them there. So it's great. I would say, Sandra, you're just this much, you're just right over the edge of going to the next level. Mira, what about you?
So I did not have a right supply, so I decided to watch it.
Okay.
I watched Marie, how she's using her pastel. I wasn't even holding it correct. So paying attention. So that's what I did. I watched her, how she's holding it and how she's spreading the stuff. So next week I'll be back and
you'll have supplies and you'll do the thing. Excellent. Excellent. Julia, what do you, I saw some great improvement over the class. What do you think you did well?
I think when I figured out that I had a water squirty thing in my pencils, and then I could do a bit more blending, that helped, because I'm finding it really hard with the actual, just like the pencil on its own. But I'll get some supplies as well. I got a little frustrated with not being able to do colors when everybody else's were looking so great.
That's a good kind of jealousy. It's a little, I like to call it jealousy. It's a little jealousy. Hey, everybody else is using color and I'm not. That's a great, sorry, you've just gone down a rabbit hole. It's awesome. Claire, how about you? I saw some nice improvement from you too. Julia, I did think I saw you go from thinking of each thing as a separate object to getting more of the dark and light shapes in place really nicely. Claire, did you want to say anything? All right, we'll skip to Hannah. Hannah, how about you? How do you think you did today?
Well, yeah, I was only able to follow so far along because with the oil pastels I was using, it was getting really muddy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed following along and seeing everybody's great, beautiful pictures.
Yeah. Having the supplies is right, but it's also okay just to kind of watch and play around, right? Like we don't have to take everything so seriously. We don't have to be the perfect student. We don't have to provide the perfect product. That's not the point here. The point here is to learn. So as you're learning, there's often a struggle, which will manifest in the class and feel messy. Later, you'll be like, oh, that's what we meant. And Juliet, how about you?
Well, thank God for the class, and thank you to everyone for showing up. It's great to see other people's art as you struggle through.
Yeah.
So I had a great time, was really what I learned from today.
That's what we want. This is, and Marie, I'd like to ask you, what do you think you did well? And what do you think you could work on as a teacher?
Well, I think for today, I feel like I slowed down. That was good. Because I am a fast painter. And I think just so my challenge will be getting to know each and one of you and where you're at in your skills so that I can push the ones that are farther along more and help the ones that are beginning to come along. So that's going to be my challenge. So please show up every week. That way I can help you and I can practice, but I can also strengthen your skills. This is a place that I want you to feel comfortable in, and you can make as many mistakes as you want. That's what you get to do. To have fun.
Unlike a lot of jobs, the whole job here, they actually say that you'll become a good artist when you make 10,000 mistakes.
Yep.
So that is, so y'all did it. You all showed up, you made mistakes, you corrected, you made things that look like trees. Everybody has something that looked like a tree. Everything that has something that looked like a tree lit from the right. So great work, everybody. This video will be up in an hour. Before we end the class, you should grab the website with the Art at Work portal, which has all the information on supply lists, schedules, the Zoom link, the WhatsApp threads for all the classes. And check out the YouTube channel. There's a lot there.
And if you guys continue on your pieces, go ahead and send them through. I don't mind helping you out. Or if you have questions about supplies that are you new to pastels, Leah, I can help you too. So just let me know. And thank you so much for coming. It's so nice to see all of you and for the new ones.
Yeah, great work, everybody.
Leah,
yeah.
The YouTube channel, is it like a private channel?
No, it's a public. You can't make channels private anymore. So it's called Art. The link is there, so you'll see it.
Okay.
Anybody can really see it, but I don't really advertise it. But that's, yeah. I'll have private channels on my own website when I can figure out how to do that.
You're doing good, Leah. You're doing good. This is a lot. I know. This is a lot.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Marie, I'll see you in about 45 minutes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay,
Great work today.
bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.